What is up, guys? Del Boy here. So on the undercard of Keith Thurman versus Josecito Lopez, we have a heavyweight fight between Adam Kownacki and Gerald Washington. I wanted to share my thoughts on this fight briefly. I don't think it's a terrible fight. I think it's a good fight for Adam Kownacki's development. I am picking him to win this fight. I feel he is coming off more momentum. Stylistically, I think he's a bad matchup for Gerald Washington. Washington, to me, doesn't respond well to pressure and adversity. But Washington, despite those flaws, he is actually quite a good boxer. He does have a good jab. He's got a nice straight right hand and he can move a bit. He's actually quite a decent boxer. He also comes in the ring in very good shape. So he does have things going for him. I think he could have been a lot better than he is. But, you know, the mental side of things, in my opinion, holds him back. And I think that is a big issue going into this fight. I do believe Gerald Washington can still give Kownacki some major problems. Kownacki's never really fought a tall, long guy who can move like Washington before. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that style. Washington is 6'6" with a 82-inch reach, whereas Kownacki is 6'3" with a 76-inch reach. So Washington is a taller, longer guy, and to me that plays into his style of being an outboxer. So in the first 3 or 4 rounds where Washington is fresh and has gas in the tank, I could see him giving Kownacki some serious problems. Kownacki does get hit, especially by straight punches, and the jab of Washington could be a problem, and also that straight right hand behind it. I really wouldn't be surprised to see Kownacki behind on the cards after the first 3 or 4 rounds. It's after that stage where I feel Kownacki will come back into it. You know, like after the 4th round, that's when Washington will slow down a bit. That's when his feet will slow down. That's when his punch output will drop. And at that point, that is when I expect Kownacki to get on top of him. If we look at Washington's defeats in the past, he got knocked out in the 5th round against Deontay Wilder after starting really well. Arguably, he won the first 4 rounds in that fight. Also in the Gerald Miller fight, he was kind of beat up in that fight, but in the first 3 or 4 rounds he was moving well, he was jabbing well. He hit Miller with a good shot or 2 here and there, but as that fight got into the second half, Washington started to gas, he really felt a bit, and Miller stopped him. Even in the fight with Amir Mansour, Washington actually started really well. He was jabbing well, he was outboxing Amir Mansour, but as that fight went on, Washington's output started to drop, and, you know, he was getting outworked down the stretch by a much older man. Amir Mansour was well over 40 at that point, so to me Gerald Washington is a 4 or 5 round fighter. After that stage he starts to gas, he starts to lose confidence, and that's when he starts to fall to bits. His skill set is actually okay, like I said, he just can't fight for 10 or 12 rounds in my opinion. I also think his passive negative nature makes it hard for him to deal with pressure fighters. Again, we saw that against Gerald Miller, we saw that against Amir Mansour, and I expect to see that again against Kownacki. To me, this fight is about how good Kownacki looks against Washington, and it's a fight which is good for his development before he steps up. So far, Adam Kownacki has fought Arthur Szpilka, Igor Kaladze and Charles Martin. These are the best guys on his resume, so there's not much there. So I like this Gerald Washington fight for Kownacki because, like I said, it gives him a different style to work out. Washington is going to give him rounds, and yeah, I just feel it's a good learning fight for Kownacki before he steps up to that next level. Like I said, I do expect Kownacki to win this fight. It's just going to be interesting to see how he does it. Providing he does win this fight, I wouldn't say he's ready for a title shot or anything like that. I would like to see him fight the likes of Andy Ruiz Jr., who's recently signed with Al Haymon. I think that would be a really good fight. A good style matchup. I think that would be a really fun fight to watch. Another good fight for Kownacki would be Dominic Breazeale. I know Dominic Breazeale is the WBC mandatory, but he's going to have to wait a long time until he gets that shot. So maybe if you pay Dominic Breazeale enough, he would fight Adam Kownacki. And if that fight did happen, it would be an absolute barn burner. You've also got the Luis Ortiz versus Christian Hamer winner as well. So Kownacki does have options, providing he gets through this fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing how his career unfolds. I think Kownacki is going to be one of those guys who, he's never going to become a champion in my opinion, but he can be involved in some fun fights, and he could be a bit of a fan favourite. He already is down in New York, so yeah, looking forward to seeing him fight. He's always entertaining, high punch output, aggressive, defensively, you know, he's not that good, but it makes for exciting fights. So share your thoughts below. How do you see Kownacki versus Washington? And providing Kownacki wins, where does he go after that? Peace.